Hello and welcome to this new series. It's got the usual high production values you've come to expect from my channel, so I hope you enjoy that. I've been thinking about this series for a little while because this series is mostly for Nick. Hi Nick. You and I have been having lots of conversations about WordPress security lately, and it's been kind of interesting to review it and have a think about exactly what it means to have a secure WordPress site, or security posture as regards WordPress. So this is for you, but it's also for anybody else who wants to learn about WordPress security. Now I'm going to mention one thing throughout this video that I want you to take on board, and that is you've got to start before your site goes live. The reason for that is you want to save yourself a lot of pain and bother, and I want to save you that pain and bother as well. So if you do mitigate these three forms of attacks before your site goes live, you'll be safe. And you won't even know what's happened, the risk that other people are having to face each day. Because congratulations, you've got a WordPress site. You've spoken to your client, you've got their content, you've put all of the pictures in, you've done it all with a page builder and plugins and goodness knows what. Congratulations, you've got a WordPress site. But it can very easily crash and go down and cause you a lot of bother. Of course, you don't want that to happen, because what does it mean for you? Well, it means that you won't be able to serve that customer anymore. You'll have to fix it, hopefully before the customer notices, or any of their customers notice. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of bother for you, and it could lead to a lot of bother for your business. So here are three different things that you need to take care of before your website goes live that will save you a lot of trouble. 1. DDoS attacks. 2. Brute force attacks. And 3. Backdoor attacks. Now, each of these are a little bit scary. I'm going to explain what they mean, and I'm going to show you what an example of them happening. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a sore throat tonight. I'm trying to soldier on. And then I'm going to show you how you can mitigate them and how you can not solve them. You don't solve security problems, you just protect yourself against them. Mitigation. The first is DDoS. DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Service. Okay, now I'm going to explain what that means. But first of all, imagine you've got a WordPress site. And you've got your site not just on its own, but you've got it on a server, haven't you? And in that server, you probably have lots of different WordPress sites, not just one. You've probably got several, because it's very cost effective. If you have one server and one WordPress site, you're not getting a lot of money for that, a lot of value out of it. So you usually put a couple in one box, one server. But the trouble with that is that server can be attacked. And what will happen is somebody who's not very nice will send lots of traffic to it and keep on pinging it and sending data and sending requests until eventually your server, like any computer that's attacked, it will stop responding. It will just not be able to cope with it. And so the whole server will go down, and that's all of your sites down. Oh dear, what are you going to do now? Because not only do you need to stop it from happening, bring your servers back up, but you need to stop it from happening, because if you spin up your server again and the WordPress site start, well, guess what? The attack's still going on, and it will go down again. Big problem, right? And your customers, your clients, will start seeing things like this. Can't find that site because the server is not there anymore. It's switched off. It's not being able to respond to the requests that are coming in, even in legitimate ones. What can you do about it? No, there's nothing like that. It's down here somewhere. All right, so what you can do is you can protect by having a little something around your server that stops requests getting to it directly. A little shield, if you like, that will decide if requests are valid or if they're not. If they're actual genuine requests, they can get in, but if they're not, they will bounce off and not be able to affect your server. Now, one very effective way of doing that is to put Cloudflare in front of it. Cloudflare is a great little service, but every cloud provider has one, so there are lots of different options. Cloudflare would do exactly that. It will put a shield around your website, so if it's getting loads of traffic, if there are loads of requests coming in from bots everywhere, Cloudflare can block those, and it will stop them from attacking you. And sometimes you might see that, like, genuine users will get this little thing, "Are you human?" And it's just a little thing that spins around, and then it will let people in because it can recognize what's genuine request and what's not. So that will stop you from having that problem. So that's a distributed domain, a denial of service attack, and how you can mitigate it. Now we're going to look at brute force attacks. All right, what's one of them? No, I did have something more here. A brute force attack is when, sorry, still got a bit of a cough, is when somebody tries to guess what your user and password is. And they won't just make one request, no, down here. They won't just make one request, they'll make loads of requests. They'll keep on hammering it with different, is your user this name? Is your password this name? And once it finds an accurate match, you have lost access. You have lost because they have got into your WordPress site. So if you're using user admin and your password as password, do not do that. That is a terrible idea, because sooner or later somebody's going to guess that very easily, and you'll have loads of gibberish on the site, your site, because what they like to do is just start putting content up there, like new posts and new pages and new articles. They're total gibberish. They don't mean anything, and it's obviously very harmful to your customers, because when their customers go to the site, they're just seeing this gibberish stuff. Or what they could do instead is send loads and loads of emails. So everybody that it's got an email address for, or even ones it hasn't, it will just keep on spamming and sending loads of email. And eventually your service provider is going to block it because it knows it's harmful. So you don't want that to happen. What can you do to stop it? Well, obviously don't do this. Don't have admin usernames. Call it something else. Your name, anything. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's not admin. And do not use password or 1234567 or 1234556 as your password. In fact, there is a very good site. I'll link it in the notes because I can't remember what it is, but it does have all of the passwords that have been found in attacks spanning back the last 10-15 years. And so you can use that site to check if, one, your email address has been compromised, and two, if your password has been compromised. Make sure it's unique, something very long and difficult to guess. Or you can use 1Password or something similar. This means that you have one master password, and every site you visit will have its own password. But you don't need to remember them all, because you just remember the master password. Very good little tool, that. But all the browsers that you've got nowadays, Chrome and Firefox and all the rest of it, have a similar tool. So you can lean on those, and you don't have to remember all of your passwords, but they can be unique. And that's obviously a lot safer. But another method that you can use, and I definitely recommend that every WordPress user should have this, is multi-factor authentication. It used to be called two-factor authentication, but that can be up to 3 or 4 different factors. So the two main ones are something you know and something you have. So something you know is your password, something you know, and something you have is your phone. So what it'll do is send you a text message and say, this is the code you need to use. And then you go back to your website and you put the code in and you're in. And the thing is, that's a lot harder for people to have a brute force attack against, because they might be able to guess your password, but it's much harder to spoof your phone number. So that's obviously a lot safer for you. So you'll knock off a lot of the very basic script kiddies and the people that will always be trying to hack your site on and off, just by enabling multi-factor authentication. So do it today, do it now, because that will save you. That's absolutely key. I really recommend that you do that very strongly. Okay, cool. Where do we go next? Oh yes, so now we've looked at DDoS, so when they hammer you with lots of traffic. We've looked at brute force attacks, and don't forget there are tools out there that will automate a lot of this for you, and they're very generally available. Metasploit, different things like that will allow you to do brute force attacks on a WordPress website. All they've got to do is press one button, and off it goes. So you need to protect yourself against these things, because as soon as they find out it's a WordPress site, and that's usually quite obvious, then you're under attack. So do be careful to do that before you launch, as soon as you can. Now, right now, do it now. I'll wait. It's okay. You can press pause. It's fine. Okay, backdoor attacks. Let's have a look at the third one. Backdoor attacks is the worst one. And I've spent a lot of time resolving this kind of problem. And the reason is you are the problem. Here's what happens. You have your lovely WordPress site, but you've got some dodgy plugin on it. Or one of those plugins that is genuine and has been written rather well, but it has some dodgy code in it. Now, this is a problem because even WordPress core itself, Matt, don't kill me for saying this, even WordPress itself does occasionally have malicious code in it. All right, it does happen because think about this. WordPress is the most used platform for the web, right? It's used by loads of people. And the code is open source, so everybody is watching these developers write their code. And the minute they make a mistake, they are looking for a way to exploit it. All right, so it's constantly under attack from this angle, from backdoor attacks. So this is where you install something and the site goes down because of it. Now, that's a big problem because especially since there are sites out there, and I know because Nick, you told me that they have dodgy plugins on them. So they will say, hey, you can buy advanced custom fields or you can buy this site builder for half the price on my site. You don't need to go to the vendor for it. Don't do that, because what they've done, they've gone to the original site, they've downloaded the code, they've put their malicious code in it, and then they've sold it to you. So already you are opening yourself up to attacks from a very dangerous actor. Okay, so people that are not very nice. So don't buy dodgy plugins from people. Make sure they are the genuine article. I'm not going to tell you exactly how or what that is because I don't know. Okay, I don't use WordPress plugins, so you've got to just make sure that they are genuine. Okay, due diligence is common sense really. Make sure it's got a appropriate security from a trusted vendor, all that kind of thing, and you can be safe. Now, what's the sign of this happening? You've got to solve this one quickly if you do have it, and you've got to check now if you think you might have been compromised, because this happened to me. This happened to one of my sites. So what happened was some of this malicious code got in. I thought I'd cleaned it up, but they'd put a backdoor in the database, and as soon as I fixed it, well, I had access before I'd finished fixing it, and they were in again, and they used it to host malicious code, which then started attacking other people from the website. So then what happened as a result was that Google and Microsoft and all these companies started to put it on their blacklists. And when anybody used to visit, they used to get this kind of message. Your website is unsafe, please leave this place. It's not good. And it took me a long time. I'm not going to tell you how long it took me, but it was a lot of effort to convince everybody, all those owners of those blacklists, that it was now safe. Don't do that. Don't get these dodgy plugins. It's not worth it. Honestly, it's really not. It caused me such a headache. And it took years. All right, I'm just telling you that. So don't use dodgy plugins or code. Make sure that they are genuine, that you can trust the people who have written that code, because it is just code, and people do make mistakes. So just watch out for that one. Make sure to be careful that you're not using any of that. But what you can also do is have a security scanner. So a lot of these plugins and services, they will scan your website regularly. One of the most popular ones that I use is WP Scan. It's a command line tool. You can just download it and run it, and it's very quick. It just tells you what plugins that you've got on your site have known vulnerabilities. So of course, once a plugin or a tool is public and somebody finds a vulnerability, they put it into a database. These security tools have access to that database. They then scan your website and see if there's a match between your plugin version and the one that's got a vulnerability, and then they will tell you about it. Hooray! You can now upgrade your plugin, or you can turn it off or use a different plugin, something like that, to mitigate the problem before anybody does this to you. Okay, which you don't want. All right, so that's what you can do. Now, security scanners, there's lots of different ones. Security is a pretty good one. Like I said, you can do it yourself if you're clever and you've got WP Scan. But there's lots of different tools that you can use to make sure that your WordPress site is safe. Okay, so that's the third one. So what have we got? We've got DDoS. where they hammer you with traffic. We've got brute force, where they try to guess your password. And you've got backdoor attacks as well. How do you mitigate each of those? DDoS, you use a shield like a Cloudflare or something that will be a proxy to your website and stop people from getting in, stop bots from sending requests that are not genuine. You've got brute force, where they try to guess your email and password. So you use a clever password. You don't use the user name admin at all, ever, on your websites. Ever use admin as a username. If you have, go and delete it now, please. And also, if you've got backdoor attacks, you can scan your website and make sure you keep your plugins updated and you don't have any dodgy ones on there. Okay, so that's the 3 different ways that your WordPress site can be attacked and how to mitigate those problems. I hope that's been useful to you. And if you want to know more about each of these attacks and a demonstration of how they are carried out, let me know, because I'll do another video. All right, see you in the next one.